In this video, we're going to talk about one of the challenges a person faces as they transition out of Mormonism into a new faith, a biblical faith in Jesus, and I'm talking about your sense of identity. Because Mormonism is not just a belief system, it's an all-encompassing social and cultural identity. And so the task of transitioning out of Mormonism involves redefining that sense of identity. Who are you after you aren't Mormon anymore? And how do you discover a new identity apart from the LDS Church? So that's what I want to talk about today. Well, first of all, it starts with the fact that being a Mormon is a family and social identity. Especially for those who are raised Mormon, there's a sense of heritage and belonging. Perhaps your ancestors crossed the plains. You've been hearing the faith promoting stories of pioneer history. You've been hearing and learning the Book of Mormon stories and the whole Book of Mormon your entire life. And likewise, another factor is if you gained a testimony of the truthfulness of the LDS gospel, that testimony cements you to countless other people who bear the same testimony, who've had that same kind of personal experience. And on top of that, you grew up observing repeated rituals and shared experiences throughout your Mormon community, from baby blessings to baptism to priesthood ordination, from attending primary and young men's or young women's, from church-sponsored sports and musical or drama performances to service projects. And add all that up, and Mormonism is simply who you are. Now, because of this, leaving Mormonism can cause disorientation. People feel a loss of that identity as they disengage from the LDS Church and world. They may feel like having doubts and questions and learning a different perspective, all of that was maybe a betrayer of their family and their cultural identity. And they often don't know who they really are now, or where they belong, where they fit. Things don't make much sense all the time. They may not even know what to do or where to turn in different elements of life. And it may take a long time to figure out that nothing is really wrong with you if you're feeling those things. And there's some hope that you can emerge from this confusing loss of identity. That hope for a new identity comes from a relationship with Jesus. As you read the Bible with fresh eyes, maybe you read it the way you've never read it before, like a child maybe who's never read or seen it before, then you start to get to know Jesus. And you're going to learn who Jesus is and what he's done for you based on his love for each person. As 1 John chapter 4 verse 9 says, God showed how much he loved us by sending his one and only Son into the world so that we might have eternal life through him. For example, when you come to Jesus for salvation, you become a new creation with a new spiritual identity. So 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 17 puts it like this. It says, anyone who belongs to Christ has become a new person. The old life is gone. A new life has begun. And so that lost LDS identity is replaced as you are adopted by God as one of his children. It says it in Romans chapter 8 verses 15 and 16. It says, so you have not received a spirit that makes you fearful slaves. Instead, you received God's Spirit when he adopted you as his own children. Now we call him Abba, Father, for his Spirit joins with our spirit to confirm that we are God's children. So our identity before God is not like servants. It's not like slaves. We're like his children. We can say Abba, which is a way in the ancient biblical languages of saying daddy. It's a kind and it's a warm term. And so he's adopted us, and that's a sign of great intentionality. My own children are adopted, and we went for that. We pursued that process. And so adoptive parents, I know from experience, they really want that child. Well, God's adoption proves how much he really values and wants us, and how we can relate to him as a caring father. And so if you're going through the turmoil and chaos of a displaced identity, Well, be encouraged. My prayer for you is that you could come to the place where you have confidence in your relationship with God. Because developing a new sense of identity, it's not really about what church or what culture you belong to, but ultimately it stems from a relationship with God as a disciple of Jesus. You can build a new identity centered on Jesus Christ and His love for you. Thanks for watching today.